Let's talk about universal mechanics. A universal mechanic is a function or action in a game that basically every character across a game's roster can do. This is mostly found in multiplayer games, however single player games also have these. For example, in Team Fortress 2, every class has a gun that they can shoot with the left mouse button. Universal mechanics are good because they help define a game's feel. Let's look at League of Legends for an example. In League, the majority of champions have 3 basic abilities, a passive, and an ultimate. Their 3 abilities are used within general combat, save for a few exceptions like Blitzcrank's W, while their ultimate is best saved for bigger fights, as they have a longer cooldown. This is generally a good universal mechanic as it helps create a clear but consistent game plan for the majority of characters, so newer players who pick up that champion aren't too confused about what they're supposed to be doing. But what happens when you change a universal mechanic? That's when you get Udyr. Udyr is unique among the cast in League for one big reason: he doesn't have an ultimate. He has 4 abilities, his 4 stances. Tiger goes meow, Turtle goes cowabunga, Bear goes burp, and Phoenix goes bird up. This changes Udyr's playstyle and feel dramatically, as well as changing his strategy when it comes to fighting people. Since you don't have an ult, you can effectively fight earlier, thus meaning he's good at getting a lead for his team, though the lack of an ult causes him to drop off late game. This is all good, but there is one problem. Udyr players basically never upgrade their Phoenix stance until they have to, as it doesn't synergize with the rest of his kit as well as Bear, Turtle, and Tiger. This change to universal mechanic is okay, but it doesn't work fully, as it makes the champion feel like they don't have an ultimate. So where am I going with all this? Recently a new character has been added to Dragon Ball FighterZ, which is a changed universal mechanic, Master Roshi. This game also has another character with an altered universal mechanic, Videl. I believe these two characters both represent why changing universal mechanics can be a good way to make a character unique, and how it can make a character terrible. But before that, we need to talk about the game's universal mechanics. So, Dragon Ball. This game has a lot of crazy shit that happens all the time, and it would take a video much longer than this one to describe how all the universal mechanics work with each other to form the game, so I'm just going to talk about the important ones. The first one we need to talk about is Super Dash. By pressing heavy and special, or right trigger if you're a coward, your character leaves the ground and flies towards the opponent. Super Dash is able to go through basic projectiles, also known as ki blasts, basically never misses unless the enemy does some fancy teleporting. Sounds kinda broken on paper, right? Press 2 buttons, just say fuck it to neutral? Well, that's because I haven't told you everything about the move. How about next time, you don't cut me off in the middle of a sentence? The player who's super dashing loses the ability to do anything, so they can't throw out a move and they can't block. This means if the opponent is observant enough, they'll be able to punish the player super dashing with a 2H. That's down heavy for people who can't look at the number pad or Tekken doesn't have heavy moons, so just imagine Law's backflip and use that notation. Or character-specific tech like command grabs, fireballs, or being Bardock. This creates a clear risk-reward scenario in which the person super dashing has to ask, can I get away with this? And the person who's about to get hit has to ask, am I mashing? There's a lot more this move can be used for. For example, it's used in most bread and butter combos, and it can be used to catch some characters who are just mashing. All in all, it's a pretty good mechanic. So what happens when a character doesn't have this mechanic? Master Roshi never learned to fly in the Dragon Ball series, and thus he lacks the ability to do a super dash. So what does he do instead? He has the Master's Leap and Reverse Kamehameha. Both of these function similar to Super Dash, they go through Ki Blast and you can't block during the animation. So what makes them unique? Despite the fact that the Super Dash is now in 2 parts, they both have their own unique properties. Master's Leap doesn't have a hitbox, so if Roshi collides with the enemy, he's not pushed away. He can also do an attack before he connects with the ground. He can also use this for loops, which I can't do and I'm not even going to try. But what about the other part? Reverse Kamehameha is the air version of the Super Dash. Unlike a regular Super Dash, it doesn't have any tracking, meaning you need to aim it. This can be hard if you're not used to the move, however, if you do get used to it, you can do some cool things with it. The system is freeing for Roshi because instead of forcing him to go in, he can use it for the opposite purpose, that, of course, being retreating. This could be seen as a terrible idea, as the move's recovery when landing is huge, but there's something that helps with this. The beam left behind Roshi actually has a hitbox, so if someone is above you, you can fire yourself to the ground and hit them, given that they're at the correct angle. But what if you want to go in? The mover is harder to go in with because you have to aim it, and whiffing it is ill-advised. But if you do go in with it, you can get a combo, which is always good. But what if the enemy blocks it? Normally when a super dash is blocked, the super dashing player is sent backwards away from the enemy, but with Roshi that doesn't happen. Not to mention you are +5 on block!
bad. It's just an ordinary... Oh my goodness!
For those of you who don't know what plus frames are, I'll explain really quickly. Basically, when Roshi hits this, he has 5 frames where he can press a button and the enemy can't do anything. This then forces the enemy to block, otherwise they're just going to eat a combo. Overall, I think the changes they made to Roshi's Super Dash are really good. They arguably removed the best function of the Super Dash, that being the tracking, but added so much that it makes the character feel unique and even gives them more complexity than a basic character with Super Dash ever could. I have to give my compliments for Arxis for knocking it out of the park with this mechanic change. Can't say they always got it right though. Reflect is Fighter's version of push block. By pressing back in special, you'll push your opponent away from you, which can lead to a counter attack for what scientists refer to as big damage. You can be grabbed out of it, and if you whiff it, you're fucked. The tool is great, it is able to stop corner pressure and return the match to neutral. Videl doesn't have this mechanic. Videl took a note out of Granblue's book on defensive options and got a spot dodge. Let's begin with the differences between the spot dodge and the reflect. With the spot dodge, enemies' attacks will simply go through you. If the attack would cause the enemy to pass through you, then they will pass through you. Videl can cancel a successful spot dodge 2 frames early. The 2 frames are nice, but it doesn't make you +2 like Master Roshi's reverse Kamehameha does. You can just cancel it 2 frames early. This means that you still have to sit through the majority of the animation. It doesn't really reset you to neutral or give you advantage because you're stuck in the animation. If the enemy just did a light attack, they can wait until your spot dodge ends and just hit you with a grab. There's an excellent video by Moldy Bagel that goes into detail about Videl's lack of options off of the spot dodge, as well as situations where it's good. I'll leave a link to the video in the description. So why does Master Roshi's changed universal mechanic work, but Videl's doesn't? Master Roshi does lose the best bit of Super Dash, but he gains things that no other character has. His ability to use Super Dash to retreat, as well as the fact that he's rewarded heavily when going in, causes the mechanic to be better, but require more skill. Whereas, Videl's Spot Dodge simply removes an option and replaces it with a less useful one. If you could maybe cancel the dodge earlier with Gohan or something, it might be more useful, but as it stands, the best way to make Videl a good character is to give her a reflect. Hey guys, thanks for watching. This bit is completely off the script. I just wanted to do a quick little outro to say thank you for watching the video. This is easily the biggest thing I've ever worked on, which is ironic, because it's probably not even like 10 minutes long. Maybe, depending on how long I ramble for. I want to make more content like this. I really enjoy making these longer form things and writing scripts and putting my thoughts into different games. But I also have a shit ton of Among Us footage on my computer, so this might not be the only type of content on the channel. Thanks for watching, and let me know what you think. I'll see you in the next video. Also, I forgot to say this, please like, comment, and subscribe!